Hey everyone, Theo here. Today I'm reviewing the Huawei MatePad SE, a tablet that sits between the Huawei MatePad T10 and the MatePad 10.4 in terms of pricing and specifications. First of all, disclaimer, this is a review unit on loan from Huawei. In this video, I'm just going to present to you my findings so that you can decide whether or not this is worth the money. And this is priced at 298 Singapore dollars, and this will be available in Singapore from 26 November 2022 onwards. So in this video, I am also going to compare this tablet with the MatePad 10.4, which is slightly more expensive. Alright, just to give you the bottom line up front, this is a good looking tablet with fantastic build quality and finishing. There are certainly areas where the tablet doesn't feel as premium compared to the more expensive MatePad tablets, but for the price that you pay, this looks good and feels good. The Snapdragon 680 processor in it is pretty good for a budget tablet. When it comes to navigating, opening apps, switching between apps, it's quite smooth as long as you don't have too many apps open. By the way, this review may be a bit long, so if you want to save time, do check out the text review that I have already written on my blog. So when it comes to loading web pages and browsing, everything feels pretty smooth. There is no Google Play Store, but it is possible to install Google Play Store through this app called G-Space, which I will show you later on. So with G-Space, you will be able to install all the Google apps as well as all the apps available from the Google Play Store. The downside is because all those apps are running within G-Space, they will take a bit longer to run, but once those apps are up and running, they will be smooth. This tablet can be used for light gaming. The limitation with gaming is if you play games with intensive 3D graphics, the tablet is going to lag. The last thing I want to say up front is if you have a bit more budget, do consider getting the Huawei MatePad 10.4 over the Huawei SE because this is the better tablet. The Kirin 820 processor is more powerful, the display is brighter, the audio quality is also much better. Alright, let's take a look at the items included in the box. So it's just these items: a 10-watt charger, a USB-C to USB-A charging cable, the SIM injection tool for the micro SD card slot. Let's look at the design of the Huawei MatePad SE versus the Huawei MatePad 10.4. So the design of these two tablets look kind of similar, but there are some differences. So the first difference is at the same brightness levels, now it's at maximum brightness, the MatePad 10.4 is noticeably brighter from an angled view and also from the front view. By the way, if you notice any parallel line patterns, that's actually due to the trial version of the OS that's on this review unit. So you can see the highlights here for the waves, the foam, it's brighter compared to the highlights here. And the colors on the MatePad 10.4 are also more vibrant. Both displays are quite reflective because there is no anti-reflective coating on them. Both have rounded corners, thin uniform bezels. The camera is on the side here. And the LCD also have rounded corners. The MatePad SE is slightly thicker compared to the MatePad 10.4, which is quite thin. On the back of the MatePad 10.4, there is a camera and a flash. On the back of the MatePad SE, it's just this single camera. The surface is matte textured. And this area here on the MatePad SE is actually plastic. And on the front, there is this trimming here, just outside of the glass. This is plastic. Whereas for the MatePad 10.4, it's just glass and metal throughout. So the build quality of this tablet actually feels more premium compared to the MatePad SE. Here's a closer look at the plastic trimming that I'm talking about. It's this part here between the metal frame and the glass. So this edge here is the long piece of plastic that you saw earlier. So on this plastic edge, you can find the volume buttons and the power button. And here's a close-up on the MatePad 10.4 with the all glass and metal construction. So there is no plastic frame between the metal exterior and the glass. For the MatePad 10.4, the volume buttons are on the side and the power button is at the top. This front-facing camera can be used for face unlock. Face unlock works pretty quickly. Auto rotation takes a bit longer than I expected, but it's alright. There is a 3.5mm audio jack on the Huawei MatePad SE, but this is not available on the MatePad 10.4. There are 4-way speakers. The audio quality is alright. It sounds slightly hollow compared to the MatePad 10.4, which has fantastic audio quality. And on this side, there is nothing. This side is curved. Actually, all the sides are curved and it's really nice. That's one thing I really like about the design of Huawei MatePad tablets. The sides are curved, which makes it so comfortable to hold with one hand or two hands. And at the bottom, there is a USB-C port, and this is the micro SD card slot. And this is the MatePad 10.4. The speakers are wider apart, so you get a better stereo effect. And speakers here at the bottom as well. That's the USB-C port. The micro SD card slot for this is on the left side. The resolution on both tablets is the same. It's 1200 by 2000. Pixel density is the same. All the visuals look sharp with no noticeable pixelation. You can even see the tiny little icons in these icon folders. Another difference between the MatePad SE and the MatePad 10.4 is the MatePad 10.4 supports the Huawei M Pencil 2. For charging, you actually have to get a separate wired charger to attach this to the tablet so that you can get this paired with the tablet. You cannot attach the pen to the side of the tablet. And the MatePad SE does not have any pen support. So those are the exterior differences. The Huawei MatePad 10.4 has a brighter display, more vibrant colors, better build quality, a more premium feel, and better audio quality. Internally, the MatePad SE uses Snapdragon 680 and the MatePad 10.4 uses Kirin 820, which is a more powerful processor. And the base model of the SE only has 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of storage. This review unit that I have here actually has 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. So there are different RAM and storage options. I'm not too worried about storage capacity because there is a micro SD card slot. For the base model of the MatePad 10.4, it's 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage. Again, there is also the micro SD card slot for storage expansion. In terms of general performance, when it comes to navigating the OS, launching web pages, scrolling, it's kind of similar for these two tablets. So let's maybe load some pages and see the loading speed. So again, pretty similar. From the home screen of HarmonyOS 3, it is possible to add widgets, which are called service widgets. You can identify apps that can be turned into service widgets by a little bar beneath the icon. Let's turn this calendar into a service widget. There are different widget sizes you can choose from. So let's choose this small one and place it on top. Let's turn this camera into a service widget as well. Let's place this here. And in addition to the dock at the bottom with all the apps and the recent apps, you can also have additional shortcuts by swiping from the left or the right side. And all these shortcuts are customizable, so you can add or remove shortcuts. Let's look at some multitasking features. So these are the apps that I have open. I can tap on this little icon here to turn the folder app into a little floating window. And next I can open up Microsoft Edge and tap on this floating window and move it into position. So now I have split screen mode. You can move the floating window by tapping on this bar here and moving it around. You can also push this floating window to the side where it will become a little icon here by the side. For gaming purposes, this tablet can be used for light gaming, but the tablet will struggle with graphics intensive games. So this game, by the way, is Lara Croft Go, which I think is not too graphics intensive, so it actually runs quite smoothly. What is she doing? And this game is Stardew Valley. So the graphics for this game isn't that complex, so the gaming performance is very smooth. Puzzle games should run fine, but for some reason I wasn't able to launch Monument Valley, which I'm pretty sure is not a very graphics intensive game. Anyway, all these games were installed from GSpace, so you can see the little icon there. The launch time will take a bit longer, but once the game is up and running, it's going to run smooth. I am not going to show you Genshin Impact because if I launch this game, the tablet will lag so bad that it's going to be very difficult for me to even close the game. If you have intention to play lots of games, this is probably not the tablet I would recommend. I would recommend you go with the more powerful tablets such as the Huawei MatePad 10.4 or the MatePad 11 or the MatePad Pro, which are all more expensive, of course. So this tablet is good for media consumption, checking emails, web browsing, reading comics, watching YouTube, Netflix, Amazon Prime. It's quite enjoyable to watch videos on this tablet because you can get a pretty good size for watching shows, and the resolution is good. This is YouTube video playing at 1080p. So all the visuals, they look quite sharp on a tablet at this size. The audio quality would be the downside when it comes to watching videos because the audio sounds a bit hollow. The audio doesn't sound as upfront compared to other MatePad tablets. The last thing I want to say about performance is if you have too many apps open, the tablet may start to lag. Now the type of apps that are open will also matter. So right now I actually have 7 apps open and it works fine. It's still quite fluid, quite smooth. However, if you open too many apps that were installed using GSpace, those apps would actually take a bit more resources. So you can open fewer apps compared to those native apps that you install from the Huawei AppGallery. And speaking of Huawei AppGallery, let's take a look. So Huawei AppGallery is the app store and they usually have this advertisement when you haven't launched it for a very long time. So the selection of apps here is good. It's actually a huge selection of apps you can choose from. However, most of the apps that I use are not available from the Huawei App Store. More specifically, the Google apps. It is possible to install Google apps. All you have to do is search for this app called GSpace, and this app will allow you to install Google Play Store on this tablet. This app is based on a freemium model, which is to say that it's free to use. However, it's supported by ads, so you have to pay to remove the ads. And I have already installed many of the Google apps such as YouTube, Google Maps, Keep, Calendar, Photos. To install the apps, you just have to tap on the icon and that will bring you to the product page of the app, which is within Google Play Store. So if you have your Google account, it will be able to restore all the apps that you have, including past purchases as well. If you want to buy apps from the Google Play Store, the payment details will be from your Google account. Now I want to talk about Huawei Super Device, which is basically the Huawei ecosystem, which allows various Huawei devices to work together. For example, here I have a Huawei laptop and a Huawei MatePad SE. So in theory, I should be able to connect the two and extend my desktop display over to the tablet. But for some reason, I'm not able to do so. probably because I'm running a trial version of the OS. Since the MatePad SE doesn't work, I'm going to try the MatePad 10.4, which does work, just to let you see the features and how they actually work. So let me connect. So these two devices are now connected and the screen is extended over, but you can see this is in landscape orientation. For some reason, I'm not able to switch it to portrait orientation, so I actually have to physically turn the tablet here. And if I click here, which you probably cannot see, oh, okay, it's already open here. So all these folders are actually the folders on the tablet. So if I need to transfer files to and fro from the tablet, it's going to be drag and drop, copy and paste. Very simple, very quick. So even though the MatePad SE cannot be used as an extended display or an external display to the laptop, you can always use third-party external display apps to get that feature. It's just that when you have the feature built into the tablet, it's more convenient. You don't have to install apps and you don't have to figure out the settings. Anyway, all the tablets that I received from Huawei for review purposes are running on trial versions of Harmony OS, so not all the super device features are available. However, when those devices do work, for example with the Huawei MatePad 10.4 that I showed you earlier, all those features are actually quite useful. By the way, this is the Huawei MateBook D16 laptop, which is a pretty good laptop. Alright, to conclude, for 298 Singapore dollars, I would say that pricing is quite reasonable for the features and the performance you get with this tablet. Although if you have more budget, I would actually recommend you go with the Huawei MatePad 10.4, which was released several months before this tablet. So you can actually find this MatePad 10.4 sometimes at prices lower than the MatePad SE. You just have to look out for deals. Alright, I hope this review is useful. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye.